Good evening, everybody. Hello. It is that time of the week. I know in some areas of the world, people feel like it's Monday. Oh my God. I'm telling you, Monday night is the best time of the week for me. Well, one of the best because I love Sundays too. But then I also like Fridays, but whatever. We can debate that later. I do like Monday nights though. It is a good night to have a worship and wellness night. I am getting ready to bring the team on. Please, as you're joining in, let me know who is here. Hey, Jordy. Jordy is jumping in, said good evening. Good evening to you, Jordy. And I'm bringing in my team, Jasmine and Jakara, in that order as they are jumping in. Hey.
Hi.
Hello. How are you ladies doing?
Doing good.
Yeah? How was your day? How was your day today?
It was long.
Long? Ooh. I can't stand when it's a long day.
Very long.
It's long days. But I'm glad that you're here. I'm playing around with these screens because I'm trying to find the right image, but we'll work from this. This works. I like this one too. All right. Hi, Jordy. How are you? All right. If you're jumping in, it is Worship and Wellness Night. Cheyenne said, hello, ladies. Hey, Cheyenne. I didn't get to you fast enough, Cheyenne. I was trying to come and hug your neck, but I did see you. I love you. Love you. And so, tonight, this month, first of all, happy Social Work Month, ladies.
Yeah.
If you do not know, all the ladies that you see on the screen, background is in social work, degrees are in social work. And so it's okay if you're jumping in and you want to say happy Social Work Month to us, because we'll just say, thank you. We will take it. And on top of that, it's Women's Month.
Yes. Period.
Like we got it, we got to put the head. There are some major heavy hitters out, in the world that we can acknowledge. And we'll throughout the month, I'll periodically throw some women on the Worship and Wellness page to honor, strong women throughout time in our culture. So just keep the eye out. If you have not yet connected, you can always go on the Worship and Wellness page, and like it, tag it, do whatever you need to do so that you can get the notifications, and you can stay abreast of the things that we have going on. So again, this is Worship and Wellness, where we believe in biblical principles, but with practical steps. It doesn't make sense for us to talk about how much we believe in God and we're waiting for God to heal us when there's steps that we got to do ourselves. How you ladies feel about that? I have conversations with people and they're like, I just trust in the Lord and I believe the Lord that He's gonna give me a job. And I'm like, but did you fix your resume?
Right.
Did you send your resume out?
Right.
Did you call after sending your resume? Like these are our steps. We can't control whether they give it to us. That's in God's arena. But there are areas that we have to do. And so here at Worship and Wellness, we believe in talking about the things that you might not hear about in your edifice, in your arenas, the areas that you are from. Maybe your churches, people don't talk about certain things necessarily. And so this is the place where we plan on talking about it all. No stone unturned. There isn't anything that we won't tackle, because the only way that we can get healed is when we uncover things and then we get right knowledge. So that's what this is all about. If you joined us for the first time, I look forward to you continuing. Ladies, you want to say anything?
Happy Monday, y'all. It's been a Monday. Hey, Jeremy.
Jeremy is in the building. Pastor Jeremy is in the building. That's son.
Heavy on that.
That's my son's son. That's my son's son. Love you, boo. And Devontae is in the building.
Hi, babe.
Devontae.
Oh yeah, you better boo your babe up. You better baby up. I love it. I love it. All right, ladies. Well, let's get into this. We're talking about nutrition this month. We're talking about nutrition, physical nutrition, spiritual nutrition. We're going to talk about it all. So this is the first half of a two-part. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of nutrition as a whole, how it affects us, the needs of it. In 2 weeks, we're going to talk about, are you malnutrition? Because a lot of times we think we're more healthier than we really actually are, naturally, financially, and spiritually, right? Did I say it right? I see you smiling, Jasmine. I said it wrong. Yeah. Disclaimer, Pastor is having a love-hate relationship with the word nutrition, nourishment, all of it. Okay, I'm gonna just say the N-word. No, I can't even say the N-word. No. All right, that is a sign for us. Let's get into this thing. Okay, forget it. Let's jump. Y'all take the stage. I'm gonna follow y'all lead. I'm gonna follow. What we talking about today, ladies?
We are talking about what it means to have nutrition, what it means to be nourished. So of course, y'all know I love Google. So I looked up the definition, and the definition, it spoke to me. It said the process of providing or obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. So what I got from that is that it's not a one-time thing. Good. It's a process of indulging in the right things over a period of time. So me eating a salad today does not negate me eating 4 Baconators last week, because it's a lifestyle. We don't even have to focus.
That sounds like judgment, Pastor Tanya. Sounds like judgment.
I was just asking. I was inquiring minds want to know. I'm just saying I don't eat well, so I get it. I understand if that's the case. We're here because we're transparent. Okay, we ain't perfect. We ain't got it together, so we on this journey together. That's all I'm saying.
But today I did better because I went and I got a plant-based cheeseburger. And I made it instead. So that was a better substitution. But what I got from it was that it's not a one-time thing. It's a process over time. And then you need the proper nutrients in order to grow. Right. Otherwise, you're just going to stay stagnant. Sure. And then I got that you can't grow in what's not good for you.
Ooh, say that one more time.
You cannot grow in what is not good for you.
That's so powerful. I mean, when you think about that, I also, so while I'm trying to do better with eating, we'll get there. I also do not have a really good green thumb, right? And someone gave me a beautiful, beautiful plant that had calla lilies, right? And which is a flower, and gorgeous plant, is doing what it's doing. But I'm not giving it the nutrients that it needs. And so ultimately what's going to happen is going to begin to die. If we are are feeding ourselves with a lot of the sugars and the milks and the breads and the, the fatty foods and all of those things, we're not giving our body a chance to grow the way it needs to. And just because you become of a certain age doesn't mean that your body doesn't grow. It'll grow like this. This. That's not the grow we want. We want the health to do what the heart to do what it's supposed to do, and the blood to pump the way it needs to pump, and the circulation. We talked about that last month, right? Like making sure the circulation is going where it needs to go. So that's really good. What are that's a question, like what are you feeding yourself? And how do you want to grow? That's even a better question.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It made me think about when you said it's a process, and actually like the green thumb, it takes discipline to be a gardener or to even have a plant, because me, my flowers be dying. Okay. So, but it goes back to, I feel like I lack discipline. So in having to water my plant, or in having to make sure I prepare my meals, which I'm on my own little health journey right now. So I'm trying to be more disciplined in the fact that, like, okay, if you want this result, you're gonna have to put in that work.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to tell yourself no.
That's really good. And yeah, that's really good, having the discipline. I mean, what helps you with that? What helps you, ladies? What helps you to maintain the discipline? Because here's the thing, I hear people say all the time, I'm just going to do it. Right? But the truth of the matter is, really, real talk, if we could, we would have been did it.
Yep.
So what is it that needs to happen for us to stay on what works for you to stay on your level of discipline?
I think for me, so I was a pescatarian for 3 years before I started eating all these baconators. I used to be a pescatarian, and I had tried a couple times in the high school to do it, and I couldn't sustain it because I didn't have the discipline to do it. And then one day I told myself that I was just going to try it, and I was going to remove the things that were keeping me from doing it. So before, I would get distracted by, like, if my mom cooked a steak or if there was bacon in my refrigerator, but I wasn't living at home anymore. And I had taken all the meat out of my refrigerator. So it wasn't like I had really had access to it unless I went to the store and got it. So then it was easier for me to just start eating things that went into the diet that I was looking for. And then eventually it just became a lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah. Jeremy said discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. Ooh, come on here, getting all deep and stuff. You're right. It weighs ounces while regret weighs in tons. And I'm telling you, once you get into a phase of regret, it is very, very difficult to shake regret off. It really is. It really is. So I agree. Jakar, this is what I was gonna say. I think also when you think about discipline, I know we say we have to have discipline, but I don't think discipline is a one person thing. I think when you talk about discipline, it requires at least one other individual either to hold you accountable or to provide you with the guidance that you need to be disciplined. Even if you think about a parent, when a parent is disciplining a child, it has to do with trying to get behaviors to happen, right? And so there's the parent that's trying to groom a certain behavior that they want to see. A lot of times when we hear the word discipline, it becomes it's a negative connotation. I got to discipline you. I'm disciplining myself. I'm gonna kill the flesh. I'm not gonna eat this baconator, right? But it shouldn't be punitive, because what happens when it's punitive and you fall subject to it, there's the regret, right? Now it's like, oh my God, I did it. I wasn't supposed to do it. It shouldn't be punitive. Discipline is really a practice, a remote set of practices to get you used to doing what you need to do. Right. I once heard somebody say the best time to try a new practice within the confines of the year is to try it in February, because February has 28 days versus the 30 or 31 days. Psychologically makes you think, well, I'm going to try it during the shorter time of the month, and then I can be able to kind of keep growing from there. I haven't yet mastered that, at least not with food. But I think, the truth of the matter is, there is theories that suggest it takes 21 days to break a habit. I think it's now I think it's even increased now, but inherently, in order to break a habit as well as start new habits, it takes that amount of time. Anything else naturally? Anything else naturally you guys want to talk about?
Were we going to go into the benefits right now, or are
Yeah,
you going to wait?
sure.
So I found that when you do eat a healthy, balanced diet, you can live longer. It supports your muscles. It also boosts your immunity. Listen, all these colds, and I have kids. This is constantly stuff going on. So I feel like we need to bulk up on the vegetables and
Yeah.
fruit. And it lowers your risk for heart disease and type 2 diabetes and cancers. It also betters your sleep. Okay.
What, fruit and vegetables?
Eating a healthier diet
Oh yeah.
betters your sleep.
Mhm.
It also helps you focus more. So I know for me, I'm a coffee girl. I feel like I gotta always have it. But since I've been on this journey, it's been like, oh, I don't really need it anymore. Like,
Mhm.
or as much as I want to have it.
Mhm.
But also back to your accountability piece, like I told my husband and he was like, oh, just do it. And I'm like, okay, when you have that person that's over here,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna make you be quiet. So thank you. So
Right.
I just been trying to keep myself accountable, and I've been praying about it. Like God, give me
So
the
good.
discernment to when I want to do that, be like, no,
Right. Right.
remember your goal, remember what
Yeah.
you want to do. So that's just some benefits. I don't know if you have any more, Jazz.
The only other one that I had was the positive impact that it has on your mood and your energy. So it affects your mental health as well as your physical health.
Yeah.
And then it can help manage, like if you do have a chronic disease, it can help manage the conditions and prevent further complications.
So let me ask you a question. I'm just going to throw this is really random, right? It just popped in my head. Well, two things popped in my head, but the question I want to start with first. We know these things, right?
Right.
Inherently, we know what we need to do to eat healthy. We know that it does require discipline. We know that we need sometimes an accountability partner. We know that in our bloodline, some of us have high blood pressure. Some of us have diabetes. Some of us, struggle with different medical challenges, but we still go to the fried foods and pig feeds and the sweets and the
Yeah.
sugars. We know what we need to do. What do you suggest? Why don't we just why is it so challenging for us to go to what we already know? There's that phrase, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
But many of us do know better and we still are struggling with doing better, right? But what do you attest that to, socially or psychologically?
I was really thinking about it when I was preparing for this, that a lot of our eating habits come from our families. So, back to your point of it runs in our family, but
Mm-hmm.
also the way you eat runs in your family
Oh,
too.
that's so
So,
good.
you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I grew up in a household, my dad's Caribbean, so it was rice all the time. It was always something else.
Mm-hmm.
And just it
Mm-hmm.
was so good, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to eat that every day. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not for my body type. Everybody's body type is different. It's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
sustain it in a healthy way. Also, it brings me to the point of when, we make the prayer, we say grace, let this be the nourishment of my body.
Mm-hmm.
What is we praying over smothered turkey wings and mac and cheese and mashed
Right.
potatoes and gravy? There's no nourishment there. And I
Right.
get
Right.
if you're trying to do it to survive. And let's think about back in the day, in
Mm-hmm.
slavery times, that's all they had. So that's how they had to,
Mm-hmm.
prepare their meals. But we're not there no more, y'all.
Right.
We have
Right.
the option to eat healthier things. And I get it if you don't have the means to do that,
Mm-hmm.
then you're in survival mode. I get that. But
Sure.
for us that have the funds to actually try to eat a salad or,
Right.
buy those fresh vegetables,
Sure.
do that. But you can't keep saying God, let it be the nourishment of my body. And it's a smothered turkey neck or something.
Out of the whole plate, just this much was the nourishment. Listen, Pastor Payne actually made a comment, and I think it's so key, right? I need to do, he said, I need to do, this is a good word, I need to do better. I'm sitting now eating a big plate of spaghetti and too lazy to make a salad. The truth of the matter is that is a very valid point. A lot of times, the way life be lifing, many times we just don't, we say, I just don't have the time to eat properly. And a lot of that comes out of preparation, right?
Prepare.
How it, there's a phrase, either you fail to prepare, if you fail to prepare, just prepare to fail. If you fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. So in other words, if you fail to take the time to prep your food, to prep what you need to go to work, versus if you're anything like me, I get up and when I get to running, I just go and grab the closest. I'm gonna get a Chipotle, I'm gonna get a Chick-fil-A, I'm gonna get all of these other, and I tell my guilty pleasure is Chick-fil-A, and in my mind, I'm like, they better than the rest. They better than the rest.
Peanut oil is something else.
I know it's bad, but in my mind, it made me think that I'm doing better than if it was McDonald's or other foods.
I'm
right?
with you.
But the problem is that it's not that we don't have the time, it's where did we put our time? If at night you got to make sure that back in the day when I was growing up, you had to prepare your clothes before you go to school in the morning. You didn't get up and then start to figure out what you're going to wear and figure out how you're going to get your book bag together and all that stuff. Those are techniques and tools that we learned growing up that many of us have swayed away from. But if you apply it with your food, it's the same thing. Okay, I'm going to prep my lunch tonight for tomorrow, or I'm going to cook for the week, and then but there's some people that go all the way out. They like put them and then they put it in the freezer. Lord, I will pay the person to do it for me. If somebody do it for me, I will follow it, but I get it. Find what works for you. And here's the other piece. Don't set a measure bar up here if you're just starting.
Be
right?
realistic.
If you're just starting, you cannot look at all of the TikToks and all of the social medias and all of the gurus that's doing it and they're used to doing it. Start small. My thing is sugar and my thing is bread. Okay, maybe I don't do the sugars. I'm going to supplement my sugars with agave. Somebody told me be careful with agave. So now I got to supplement it with honey, right? So find what works and start there. Don't try and go cold turkey if you can't. So I appreciate you saying that. Cheyenne said, I think the same thing. Don't be ashamed. Pastor Payne said, yep, yes, prep works. I could have made the salad earlier. Yeah, it's true. I mean, we just have to be willing to accept when we miss the mark and then do better. Like when you know better, you do better.
I also think part of it is just that it's easier to eat unhealthy foods because
it's accessible.
Yeah, it's like if I go to Chick-fil-A, one, it's going to be cheaper for me to get a sandwich than it is for me to get a salad.
That's true.
And then if I am making spaghetti, it's quicker for me to put the pot, like I just got to throw the pasta in the water, let it boil, and then warm up the sauce. But if I make a salad, I have to cut those things up and then I have to put it all in. It's like a whole bunch of different things. So I think going to your point of preparation really helps. Like I used to do meal preps on Sundays for the week, and that helped me throughout the week not eat poorly because I had to tell myself, like, girl, you have to at home. Like we already made it. Yeah.
And here's the other thing, Jakari, you talked about a little bit about those that have better means, right? If you financial, number one, eating healthy, it's true. Eating healthy is expensive, right? This is why coming to us on the 20, what's that last Monday? The 20 what?
25th.
25th is going to be so key because we're going to talk about how the industries are working against us in order for us to do better. We're trying to do better, but there are a lot of entities that are working against the factor. And my goal is to have some resources there. There are some resources, that are giving out free boxes of vegetables and things of that nature. So we'll get you connected to some of those resources. But really where I wanted to go is I forgot.
But to add to that, though, when we get those fresh fruits and vegetables, we got to unlearn how to cook it, because you can't
Mm.
just douse it in vegetable oil and be like, oh, it's broccoli or it's
Mhm.
fine. But it's like, no, the way you
Butter
made
on
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, butter, salt, all this stuff.
And steaming it versus boiling it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? Getting, I just this is ridiculous. I've had strainers that you put, technically supposed to put, it has holes in the bottom, supposed to put the vegetables in and then boil the pot of water at the bottom so that the steam then
Mhm.
cooks it, and it's not cooking it to the soft capacity, and it
Yep.
keeps more of the nutrients in it.
Yep.
Mhm.
I learned that the harder the more raw the vegetable, the
The
more
better it is.
nutrients it has in it, which is why salad technically is supposed to be good, is good for you. So yeah. um Chanel said, I do better with my eating since I work from home and I don't have the time to go out to get food. My breaks are only 30 minutes. That's really good. Chanel, I think, for some people being at home, it is helpful. It does help orchestrate how we eat. And then there's others like us that still are lazy and will DoorDash. So, it's a matter of knowing what you want to
Yeah.
accomplish.
Mhm.
Do you
And
want it bad enough?
focusing, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Many times we wait until the doctor says, I'm diagnosing you with,
Mhm.
type 2 diabetes, or I'm diagnosing you with high blood sugar, and then we lose it, right? Lord, help me, Lord. And it goes back to what I said earlier. What is it? What are the parts that we can do?
Mhm.
And God will take care of the things that we cannot. But
Mhm.
we have a responsibility for the things that we can. I do, before we get into the spiritual, because I want y'all to hang tight for the spiritual piece. If you're here, two things. One, sharing is caring. So please share this live as it's happening, because you never know who may click on it and want to hear about it. But two, tag the name of somebody that you think would benefit from this. And then lastly, if you have questions or comments, please feel free to put it in the comment section, and we will tackle any that we see across. I forgot to tag Sheila. Said, good evening, wonderful Pastor Tanya and guest ladies. Hey, lady, good to see you. Devontae said, also, most Black communities are food deserts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Everything that we look for is there, right? We can access it. That's where I was gonna go. When you have the means, we have a tendency
Yeah.
to spend because we can. We will, like you said, it's just a lot easier. I'd rather just go to Outback and let them fix my food, and then I get this big old steak with broccoli and some rice, and say, well, it was rice pilaf with some broccoli. I had broccoli, right? And
Covered
so I
in
ate I
butter.
ate healthy. And here's the piece. I'm not, you just gotta consider finding people that are doing it.
Yeah.
Who do you know that is eating well? Who do you know that does have a healthy eating lifestyle? And talk to them, right? Like, we have people right in our midst that we can use to say, hey, I'm interested in starting. Where is a good starting measure for me? Glendora says, I know we say it's expensive to eat better, but I feel buying vegetable is much cheaper than buying meat. Yeah, meat is up there too. It's true.
Yeah.
Lindora, you're right. Because I don't know what happened to hamburger meat. I miss the days, long gone are the days where you get a big thing of hamburger meat for $7. Now you paying 20. So
It's
it's
ridiculous.
true. It's true. Yeah.
I also wanted to add, though, when you said finding someone that has successfully done it, not to compare yourself
Oh,
Mhm.
that's good.
to the way they did it. Because I have a friend who lost some weight and she did it healthily, and it's like in the most successful way. But I compared it to where I was. I had just I
Yeah.
had a baby and trying to figure out, what I'm saying, what I need to do. But you also have to consider the circumstances that you're in. For me,
Yeah.
I'm a mom and I have two
Yeah.
kids and I'm in school. So it's
Mhm.
like preparing that time, I have to be intentional about what I want to
Mhm.
do. But
Mhm.
comparing my lifestyle to Jazz, like it's totally different. You know what I'm saying? So as far as how you want to maximize your time, it's totally up to you.
Oh, Dr. Jackie is on the call. I call her Dr. Jackie.
Use your smaller plate.
Listen, Jackie said use a smaller plate. It's so true. You know, you know, if you think about it, when you used to go to certain restaurants, they would give you the big plates. Now the
Mhm.
plates are getting smaller. That doesn't mean fill your plate up more. You know, it means just make it proportionate. I
Yeah.
think everything is in portions and being mindful of what those portions are. Eat a little now. And honestly, what I learned is that you should be eating more smaller portions than a few big portions. And then also when you eat plays a big part. If you're eating late at night, it's taking your body a lot longer to break that food down
Digest.
throughout the night,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we got, these are all, it is a lot to it, but it's okay. You do it in the increments or the portions that you can. Just be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is the key. At least I believe. But Jasmine, before I go to the spiritual side of, are we spiritually nourished?
That was good.
Yeah, right. Listen, if y'all listening right now, me and nourishment, nourished, all we having a love-hate relationship, and I'm mixing them up, so they laughing at me, but that's okay. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
That was good.
Um,
You got it.
Before we go there, Jasmine, you referenced you are a pescatarian.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell those that are looking, because sometimes we don't really know the difference between what's a vegetarian, a pescatarian. I'm a meatitarian, but
Not a carnivore.
just keep that part out. Just talk about pescatarian and vegetarian, and if there's others, if people are thinking about, I want to try that, what is that?
So a pescatarian is someone who only eats fish. They don't eat meats like hamburgers or like cows, pigs, none of that. Only fish. So I ate a lot of salmon. I ate a lot of shrimp. I ate a lot of crab. Jeremy can tell you, I ate a lot of crab legs at one point in my life. And that's honestly when I was first starting. I think that's what made me switch over because I just kept eating crab legs, and I was like, I don't really need meat
Mhm.
anymore.
Mhm.
Um, and then vegetarians don't eat any types of meat. So they don't eat meat or seafood. They only eat vegetables. And then I
Mm.
believe vegans only eat vegetables and then they don't do dairy.
Right.
So
Mm.
no cheese, no milk, no eggs, things like that.
That's really good. So if you're thinking about trying one of those lifestyles, because it really is a lifestyle, you have to really adopt it and walk with it. These are things that you can consider. Do I want to be a pescatarian where I just do fish? No other forms of meat? Do I want to be a vegetarian where I'm not doing meat at all? Or
Can't do
a V or be, or you said vegan, or be vegan where there's no eggs, no dairy, and things of that nature. So Shamire said yes for the crab legs.
That's when we were getting stimulus checks. I was living good.
Oh my
Period.
goodness. Oh my goodness. Sheila said I eat only 3 meals a day. I I eat only 3 meals a day instead of three.
Mm.
Just not hungry to eat food if I really just not hungry to eat food if really not hungry. Sheila, and what I'm hearing is sometimes you just it's kind of hard to eat, like instead of having a lot of little meals, if you're not hungry, you don't necessarily push yourself to want to eat something, so you just stick with 3 meals a day. And again, everybody's process is their process. What works for them is what works for them, but just be mindful of some of the things. Like I said, what do you are you eating a lot of snacks, right? It doesn't mean you can't have it. You can have a cake here and there, but maybe instead of having it multiple times out the week, once a week, pick your cheat. I used to hear people say have a cheat day, right? Do you have a cheat day? Where are you eating it? What time of the day are you eating those things?
Mhm.
So all of that plays into it. Devontae said, look, I'm going to eat a turkey neck now and then, and now and then, but moderation is my thing. Yeah, I agree. Oh, I love me. I don't know about turkey neck, but I
I
do
love
love
turkey neck.
wings.
I don't think I ever had a turkey neck.
What?
I put a turkey neck bone in my collard greens. Does that count?
But do you eat it?
Mm-mm. It's for
What?
season. It's for seasoning.
I'm from
Pastor
the
Rick
South.
said, does it help to devote 1 or 2 days a week to vegetable only, for example?
I think that's a great idea. I had a friend who would do she would give herself like a certain amount of days throughout the week where she was like a pescatarian, and then she would have a certain amount of days where she could just eat meat. So she kind of split it up so that she was forcing herself to eat
Mm-hmm.
healthily, but she was also able to eat the things that she wanted to. And then
Mm-hmm.
also with like, even if you're not pescatarian, not vegetarian, anything like that, just try your best to eat the rainbow. So with
Make it
any meals
healthy.
that you have, make sure you're eating
Mm-hmm.
like your greens. You can have oranges, adding bell peppers to your food, like anything that adds color, because that adds vitamins, it adds fiber, it adds minerals. And then drinking lots of water will also help you not overeat, because you'll fill yourself up before you have the chance to overeat.
I was about to share that. I was working at a grocery store and when I was a teenager, and I was going for a break, and I was like, I'm gonna eat something, whatever. And my coworker was like, "You're not hungry, you thirsty." And I'm like, looking at her like, "How would you know what's wrong with my
Mm-hmm.
stomach?" But I drank some water and I was good, so it worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, water will fill you up. I wrote, so make sure you eat the rainbow things in color, but not
Love
Skittles.
Skittles.
Not that version of the rainbow, the
Mhm.
healthy food. Glendora G Money said, I'm a pescatarian also, but I also have lost the taste for crab and fish. She said, I think your body slowly rejects the taste of
Mhm.
seafood. It's a process mentally and physically. You have said a mouthful. A lot of it is mindset, and allowing yourself to let your body change. I know one of my prayers is that God begins to slowly change my taste buds, physically and spiritually.
That's good.
So let's go into the spirit side of this
Let's
thing.
do it.
Let's do this. Let's do
Let's
this.
do it.
So I want to focus on Daniel, right? And I'm gonna come out of Daniel Uno, Daniel numero uno. If I can pull up my thing, I'm having trouble with. Oh, I see because it's at my other screen. I got two screens, y'all. Y'all bear with me. Okay. So Daniel 1, and I'm gonna quarterback this thing. I'm not gonna go totally into it, but this is the portion of Daniel that I want to talk about. Daniel was known for, we hear all the time the Daniel fast. I'm gonna go on a Daniel fast, but Daniel was a man who believed in what their culture believed in and how they ate. At the time, there was a king called Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar wanted to groom some men, take them, and they were called eunuchs, then would take the men. There was a head eunuch, train them, feed them the way the Babylonians ate. Daniel and his peeps, if you will, were children of Israel, and there was a way that they ate. And so the eunuch was saying, hey, you're here with the king. The king is giving you the fine wines, the fat of the calf. You're going to eat what we eat. You're going to learn. I wrote that King Nebuchadnezzar said, train them, feed them what we eat, prepare them for the king, give them, teach them, take their language. Well, don't take their language away, but give them teach them our language, the language of the Babylonians, and change their name. So I want to go, and I just want to share a little bit down where it says, the king called for men in verse 4. He called for young men that were without blemish. They were handsome in appearance. They were skillful. They were wise. They were endowed with intelligence and discernment. He knew where to get the right stuff. That's all I'm gonna say. They were Babylonians going to get children of Israel. He knew who to get. And then the scripture jumping down to 6 says, among them were sons of Judah were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. And the commander of the officials gave them Babylonian names. So he changed their name. So Daniel became Belteshazzar. Hananiah became Shadrach. Mishael became Meshach. And Azariah became Abednego. So you probably have heard the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We know them because they believed in serving no other God but the God that we serve and we believe. But when they were in this training piece, the piece that I want to point out was during this training piece, the head eunuch said, listen, you got to eat our food. They said, listen, we believe and serve the God that we believe, and we want to just eat vegetables and drink water. Let us do that. Well, the eunuch said, well, why would you do that? And then when I present you before the king, you're going to be scrawny, and in 3 years, you're going to be sunken in because you didn't eat the way that let me make it modernized. You didn't have the fried chicken, the sweet potatoes, the collard greens. You got all that. You got wine. You got, ocean spray cranberry. Like we giving you the goods. And they said, no, we're gonna stay here. So I tell you what, test us out. Let us eat the way what our culture and our heritage and what we know to be better for us, which were the vegetables and the water, and then measure us up against the other eunuchs. And when they did, they found that the eunuchs were that Daniel, which was Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, all looked better, just as good, if not better, than the other eunuchs that were eating the unhealthy. Well, I don't want to say unhealthy, but you understand what I'm saying. They were eating all the other type of foods, which suggests, sometimes, we will make excuses. We'll say, well, I have to eat this. I want to make sure I keep my vitamins up. Meat is protein. And we come up with all of these reasons, which is true, but we may not eat it the best way that we can. And so I'm not bringing this up to suggest that people become vegetarians or pescatarians or vegan or what have you. If it works for you, great, find what works for you. But in the Bible, this was what Daniel and his fellow cronies, if you will, chose to eat, and it showed out better than what was. And so I'm just saying to say there is a benefit, especially when you're doing it for God. They were doing it to honor what they understood about their spiritual nutrients through a physical act. It was through that physical act. And so there are 3 things I kind of want to chat a little bit about, which is what are you feeding your soul? What are you feeding your soul? Now we're talking about the spiritual side of being nourished. What are you feeding your soul? What are you feeding your soul? I wrote down, what are the things that you're taking in? Right? What is it that you're taking in? A lot of times spiritually, we're taking in so much. We got 5 senses, people. And those 5 senses are portals and gateways that can either get us in trouble or can feed our spirit, man. What music are you listening to? How much computer, TikTok, and social media are you taking in? All of this stuff is coming in. And so what is your soul being strengthened? Is it benefiting your soul? Is it strengthening your spirit, man? What are you doing? What are you feeding your soul? What shows are you watching? Right? Like I used to do a lot. And every now and then I was like, I want to watch junk TV. Okay. And me, junk TV was,
It's my guilty pleasure too. Tubi movies.
Yeah, I was like, I want to see junk TV. And to me, junk TV was the Housewives. And then after a while, I was like, I'm so over it, played out, right? So now, I like crime shows is my other thing that I love watching. But what am I recognize in that moment, it's just junk TV. It's just
Mm.
it's futile, right? It's like the junk food that we eat. It's not feeding anything but our guilty pleasure, right?
No nourishment.
Also recognize that there are times that I will put on a video, I'll put on a Cindy Trim and a heartbeat, and then I need to go in because I know my spirit man needs to be fed, or I will put on, something that's going to feed my soul. The other thing I want to reference, and I'm going to give these three, and then you guys can jump on in there before I give 5 steps. Is what a healthy spirit requires. What does a healthy spirit require? How can my spirit man be healthy? What does it require? Well, there are 5 things I want to point out. Get the word. Get in the word. Get in the word. That will help some of the bad junk that we have put in. What does the word say? Learn the word, because here's the thing: you can't regurgitate. Thank you,
What
Holy
you don't know.
You can't regurgitate what you didn't put in.
Right.
When you eat, if you eat certain things, what's coming out through your mouth or through your bowel system is only what you put in.
Right.
You're not going to see, I'm not a person that likes asparagus. So I'm never going to necessarily see asparagus come out if I didn't consume asparagus. Right? So what is it that you're putting in the body that is nurturing your spirit man? Here's the other thing. Declare the word over your life. What do you mean, Pastor Tanya? So I don't have the spirit of fear. We have the spirit of power, love, and of sound mind. That's 2 Timothy 1:7, right? Speak the word. Speak the word, declare it over your life. What are things that you struggle with? Is it fear? Is it stress? Is it finances? What is it? I promise you, there's nothing that we go through in life that you can't find something in the word to remedy it. That's why getting in the word is so key. What are you speaking? Declare it. God is moved by his word. The enemy ain't moved by our tears. He ain't moved by our situation. He could care less whether we like it or not. But what moves the enemy is the word of God. He can't stand up against the word. So use it. What are you declaring over your life? If you have a prayer language, use your prayer language. Speak in your prayer language, because that is a tool that the enemy don't understand. It's only a conversation between you, your spirit man, and the Holy Spirit, translating to God the Father. Okay? So use that. Another way to be another thing that a healthy spirit would require is engage in your own personal well-being. That is believe it or not, that's another component to treating and taking care of your own spirit man. And the last thing I want to say is guard your downtime. Be careful for your idle time. That's how you safeguard your spirit man. Keeping it healthy. You guard your downtime. What are you doing? What conversations are you having? Who are you talking to? What time are you having those conversations? Where are you in the environment? Where are you going to? So being mindful of when you have downtime. I'll keep it as simple as, if you're sitting down, laying in your bed, or you're in your own home, in your home, and you allow your mind to go wandering, right? Sometimes we are beating ourselves up because we are letting our brain wreak havoc. Oh, you shouldn't have did this. Oh, look what you did, and look how it happened, and now what you gonna do? How you gonna get better from that? And you said you was gonna eat healthy. Now you didn't get. You ain't never gonna do. Sometimes our brain just goes crazy when we have idle time. So just guard your downtime. So those are 5 things what a healthy spirit requires. And then the last thing was being spiritually connected aids in spiritual wellness. What are you doing? Who are you connected with? You know, in our ministry, we have so many ways that you can stay connected. There are even groups outside of, you know, maybe you're watching and you're not necessarily connected to our church or a church, but there are things that you can stay connected to strengthen your spiritual wellness. Within our church, we have the women's ministry, you got men's ministry, you got your young adult ministry, you got Fig Group. Holy mackerel, we got a whole lot of things. You got Sunday service. There's a lot of ways that you got Thursday night fire, you got Monday night wellness. I'm just saying, we doing the thing, all right. That's what we do. So those are the three things that I wanted to point out regarding being helping to become or stay spiritually nourished. That was a lot. Now I'm gone. Y'all can jump on in there, and then I'm looking at some of these comments.
My grandma used to always say, "An idle mind is the devil's workshop," and I never really understood that until I got in those spaces where it was like I didn't have anything to do, and my mind would just wander. So, what you were talking about, but I also don't want to confuse it as if you have to constantly be doing something, because resting is important. I can't remember the scripture in the Bible where God just told him to go to sleep, and he was fulfilled and ready for the next day. Like, you know what I mean? So resting, and what Apostle said on Sunday, you have to rest. Like, you're not supposed to be working constantly. That's how you're getting sick. That's how it aids in you not eating well. That also fuels your sicknesses and the lack of rest for you. So I also wanted to point out in 1 Corinthians 6:12, it states, I'm allowed to do anything, but not everything is good for me.
It's expedient. Yes, you're so true.
I must not become a slave to anything. So that involves food. Like, even though it's available, you can. Should you? It's like the discernment there.
That's so good. Just because it's accessible doesn't mean it's for you, right? You don't necessarily, you can choose, right? Here's that word. We can choose to do something different. You can choose to do what you normally do, or you can choose to do something different. Your husband Boothang said, Jakara definitely helped me to understand that I need downtime. She helped me to understand that I need time when I get off to understand how to be good for her and your family. It's so true. Downtime is necessary. You got to, but I think, Jakari, you said it well, that be careful of your downtime, but it doesn't necessarily mean you don't have downtime, right? Just, again, it goes back to proportions and balance. Proportions and balance. What are you doing when that time comes? Jasmine?
When you were talking about Daniel and how he was very strict with what he ate, it made me think of what Apostle was talking about on Sunday when he said that my body is a living sacrifice and I want it to be holy and acceptable to you. I thought about it physically, like, I don't want to give God junk. Like, I don't want my living sacrifice to be filled with junk physically and spiritually. So what I'm doing myself both ways, like, I need to make sure that it's acceptable to God, because I don't want to give him just anything.
It's so true.
Because it's not ours. Our body is not ours. And it says that also in 1 Corinthians 6:19, and it's like, don't you realize that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you and was given to you by God? You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price. So you must honor him with your body. So Jesus died for the way you eat food too, y'all. Like,
it's so true. Well, can we just put a pin right there? So this is Women's Month, right? We kind of did the little shout out. And as you were just reading that scripture, it even makes me think about how we not only defile our bodies, but what we put in it, but how we treat our bodies and how we handle it, right? So many women are having surgeries upon surgeries, and we got all of this up top, and all of this down bottom. We getting shots here, we getting cut up here. We done changed the body. God is probably saying, I don't even know what that is, because that wasn't what I made at all, right? Like, I mean, but because we're so busy trying to create what we believe we should be looking like, forgetting that we were not our creator. The creator created who we are. and it's our responsibility to take care of it. Many of us are going to have these surgeries because we didn't take care of the car when we had the car.
Right.
You get my point. Some of us are driving. Oh, I had my car was nice when I first got it, but it got a whole lot of miles on it, and now I want to trade it in.
Right.
Well, why didn't you just take care of it in the beginning? We want to get these new bodies. We want to get carved out. We want to look like the boom bop bop boom bop bow, and then forget. Here's the other piece. We forget we gonna get old.
Yeah.
Now you got to get a surgery to get you got to surgerize the unsurgery to the surgery that you had when you had the surgery the first time when you just left alone. We got to be careful. We got to be careful. I mean, so I just, it made me think about that piece about what are you doing with your body? That's why it was so good that we had the physical piece 2 weeks ago, because it allowed us to tend to our body physically and get our heart pumping that way. And this month we're talking about what we're putting in our body. So yeah, this is really, really good. Spiritual BBL. Yes, some of us do need a spiritual BBL.
I am hollering.
You are not listen. I'm a coin that.
I'm gonna use that.
We need a spiritual BBL.
That is right.
Cheyenne said, then we dedicate so much time of earning money to being our own idol. Lord have mercy with these surgeries. She's talking about with the surgeries. Yeah, it's true. Right. So now we idolizing how we look. We spend all this money on it. And what are we doing? But like all of that goes to that, and then we do a 5-minute prayer.
But unfortunately, some people dying too, trying to get it. So
listen, I know a young lady raised in her sister was raised in my cycle. She went and had some work done, some surgery work done, because she was trying to look a particular way and didn't make it out the hospital. She never made it out the hospital. It's unfortunate, but our bodies are not ours. We are to present our body a living sacrifice. And therefore that entails what you put in it, the portions that you had, like every element of who we are, we should be submitting to God. I don't know about y'all, but I don't like nobody submitting no half stuff to me. Don't give me no half stuff. I don't want half stuff. Like I could have gotten 100%. You gave me 50% because it's just what, that should be enough. That's not enough. Here's the other thing, because what are we saying? Like when somebody does that to us, it's like, I'm worth more than that. Is God not worth more than what you give him? I think the question that we ask ourselves is God worth what we're giving? That's a question.
But you got to know how much God is.
Huh?
I was saying you got to know who God is to. This is a whole nother soapbox, but like we try to fill the voids because we don't really know who God is, the how powerful he is, how merciful he is. So it's like, oh, I gotta go fix this, knowing that no, God created you this way for this reason, for you to reach these people so he can help. You know what I'm saying? Like all of these things are influential.
Yeah, it's so true. This is real good, ladies. Real good. Any final thoughts on being spiritually fed well? I'm not gonna say the other word. I'm just gonna say spiritually fed well. Any other final thoughts? Look, Pastor Valerie said it's a doggone shame when we eat unhealthy for years, then go pay thousands of dollars to get another body. In most surgery cases, the women gain the women. Listen, you ain't lying right there. That part. The women gain the weight right back because we don't value what we earn. You are so correct. Wait, here's the other piece to that, Valerie. If I can even add on it, we gain it right back because what was lacking was the thing we talked about earlier, the discipline. It is the discipline. Getting the surgery to get smaller is not going to be the remedy. You still have to minimize how you eat. Be careful what you put in your body. making sure you're still not eating at certain hours. The same things you got to do before you put out the thousands of dollars. You still got to do that same thing with the $1,000. I'd rather keep the thousands of dollars in my pocket and just start fresh with just. But I'd rather be heavy in the pocket than
heavy bit
in other places. I'm just saying. Listen, this has been awesome. Any final thoughts, ladies? That what you want is anything pertaining to eating healthy, why it's important. I think what we didn't really get into, which was a really good point, is a lot of times the way we eat is because of how we were raised and the foods that we ate and how we saw foods cooked and prepared. And if you throw, like you said, if you throw culture in there, that's a whole nother level and layer. My husband's family, his mom is Jamaican, but his father's African, and they eat very, very heavy foods, a lot of hot foods, right? There's that piece. I have good Hispanic friends, lots of rice. Asians do a lot of rice, right? So there's your starches. So all of those pieces play into the psyche of how we choose to operate. And it doesn't mean that it's wrong, but it is okay to do something different. When you know better, you do better.
That's my point. Just to take away for everyone to just do your research and gain whatever knowledge. And sometimes it takes for you to unlearn some stuff.
And it's okay. It doesn't mean that in that season it was wrong. It just means there's a better way. Right? Because so often we're like, oh, that was the wrong way. Or no, you shouldn't have done it. No. It just means there's a different way. There's a better way. There's another way that you can do things. So yeah, Jasmine, any final thoughts before we sign off?
When you were talking about filling yourself to be spiritually nourished, and what things you need to fill yourself with, I went back to the definition that I had read when we were talking about the natural side, and it was talking about people with chronic diseases. And I thought about people who have like stress, or like you're stressed at work, or you're having anxiety. And it said healthy eating can help manage these conditions and prevent complications. And I thought about it spiritually, like feeding your soul with what is good and what is righteous can help manage the conditions that you're in and prevent yourself from getting into further messy situations, because God will provide for you. He's going to get you out of it.
It's so true. It's so true. Oh, and one thing that we didn't tackle, but I do want to just throw this out there. It also plays different for men and women. It looks different because our body chemistry and our makeup is very different. And so for males, you have to know what works for you, and women, you have to know what works for you. So that's why I said, find people that are in your circle that are doing it and doing it well, that you can glean from, as well as research. Because the thing about research is there's so much stuff out there. You just got to be careful. So I would fact check what you do research with someone who is doing it well and their thoughts around that. This has been an amazing night. Listen, I want you to remember, we're back in 2 weeks. We're going to talk about, are you malnourished? I know how to say that one. Are you malnourished? Are you malnourished physically or spiritually? So we're going to talk a little bit, or both, right? We're going to talk about that. We're going to have a guest. She is a nurse that has been in the field over 20 plus years. And she definitely has her own businesses, even that included getting into a CMOS and understanding kind of the benefits of that in the body. I want to see y'all in 2 weeks, but then I want to see y'all on Sunday the 23rd. Let's get our blood pressure checked. Let's check it, make sure the numbers is doing what it's supposed to do. And don't do it after you finish shouting. Like, just take a minute and then come, and then let's find that out, right? But then on that Monday, we're going to talk about what the health, and learn about how the businesses and corporations are creating creating facades that we may secrets they don't want us to know. So we're going to talk about that on Monday the 25th. So I look forward to seeing you all in 2 weeks virtually. But on the 25th, we will be in the building. We will not be online. So come. Bring the family, bring your friends, bring your neighbor, bring a stranger. I don't really care. Just come. We want to see you. And we'll have some collations and some sandwiches for y'all that night. All right. I look forward to seeing you all. Remember, this has been Worship and Wellness, where we believe in biblical principles, but with practical steps. We love y'all. Good night.
Bye.